occasionally.
Miss Miller, thank you very much for coming in to meet with me today to talk about Lucy, and thank you for understanding why I need to film this.
Yes, no problem.
So to start, I'd just like to quickly go over what I think Lucy's strengths are. I really think she's such an energetic and vibrant teenager, and that all the pieces for her to be a successful student are there, and for that to translate to her life outside of school now, and also when she graduates. She also, I think, is a leader of incredible capability, most typified by the other day when, following the latest maths assessment, she got everyone to sign a petition saying that they weren't happy and sent that to the maths head of department. And I know she can be critical of both the curriculum and my teaching style, but I think the way she articulates that shows a very active and sharp mind. But the reason I've wanted to meet with you is some of the concerns that have come up in the last month or so, and at the moment, Lucy is choosing to use this skill set to be disengaged in class and to also disrupt her own learning and also the learning of her peers. And when she exhibits her frustrations in class, she is doing it in a way that is not constructive or conducive to a safe learning environment. And look, obviously, I'm now more aware of the situation at home. But unfortunately, what this does mean is that Lucy does not have the opportunity that her peers do to reinforce what she's learned at school that night at home. So I've just printed some notes off for you, but basically I've come up with 3 strategies or teaching practices that I'd like to implement moving forward with Lucy. And the first one is I think Lucy and I need to be geared towards having a good student-teacher relationship, and to develop the idea with Lucy that her and we're a team, and the goal of that team is to help her achieve to the standard you and I both know she can. And the reason for this is that when students think they're being treated fairly, which obviously Lucy does not think is the case at the moment, they're more engaged in class, and not only are they more engaged? The research suggests that stronger relationships are developed both with me and her peers, and also that higher levels of learning are achieved. And this actually comes quite nicely into my next strategy, which is active learning, which basically, rather than a stereotypical method of copying down the notes off the board. Students are more interactively involved in their learning, and there are so many strategies for this to happen in the classroom, and I'm happy to talk more about these strategies with you and Lucy. But the reason for this is that basically the research shows, and my own practice has shown, that incorporating active learning into the classroom has shown to improve student achievement, the interpersonal relationships with, again, myself and her peer and the peers in the classroom, and also it improves the attitudes towards learning that students have, which I think would be particularly beneficial for Lucy at the moment. And finally, the third strategy you'll see that I've got there is incorporating the advancing partnerships framework developed by the Queensland Department of Education. And basically, normally that would be between a teacher, myself, and a parent you, but I think given the nature of the complaints, I think it would be appropriate for Lucy to be involved in these types of discussions moving forward. And because of that, I think it would give Lucy evidence of her own learning and how that is useful for her moving forward, and how it is going to affect her future. And this way I can give her greater control of her learning, and I can give her, by giving her, the content perhaps a little earlier than her peers, so that way she has time to sit and think about how this is either helpful for her or not so helpful for her, and that way she can formulate very constructed arguments pro or anti that particular lesson or that particular bit of content, and even if she's against, which I actually would encourage because I think it would show that she is engaging in that content even though she doesn't think it particularly helpful, to formulate that argument against that lesson, and in that way she is still engaging in the learning. So thank you very much for meeting me, Miss Miller, and do you have any questions?